So now that we know what's the number of pages, what's the offset, and so on, we can create the method to get our record. Okay, so next one will be called public, because we will be accessing this method from outside of the class. Function get records. Okay, and we start with out array, empty array, where we're going to be collecting all the records. If this number of pages is more than 1, then first of all we'll get the last record. Last equals this offset plus this max per page. What it simply does, it's finding out what is the last record which is about to be displayed on this specific page. Offset, obviously if we're on the first page it will be 0, on the second page it will be 1, and so on. So if we have offset 0 plus maximum number of records per page is, let's say, 10, then obviously the last record will be number 10. Okay, then for I equals this offset, I is less than last, and I plus plus, which means loop as long as this condition hasn't been met. Obviously, as long as I will be less than our last variable, loop through the records basically. So if I is less than this number of records, which means if I is basically less than the number of records, total number of records, because obviously if it exceeds it, then we don't need to loop any longer, because obviously there's no records to loop through. So out array, and we put in the value of the specific record into it. So this records and the index, which we are currently looping through. So this is if number of pages is more than 1, else out equals this records. So it basically puts all of the records into this array, because obviously there isn't enough records to put any pagination to it, which means we can put all of them into array and then display on a page. And then right at the end, after our if-else statement, return out. So now if we save this method, open our catalog file, and after our rows equal object catalog get products, if we instantiate paging class, okay, so we have object paging equals new paging, and as you remember, we have to pass at least one parameter, which is the records which you have from the database from the previous statement. So we have all our records we pass to this method, as to this class, sorry, and we only want to display 5 records rather than 10. Okay, now rows, we overwrite in this rows variable with array rather than variable actually. Object paging get records. Okay, so we're passing all the records to this specific array, to the specific variable, which becomes array, obviously, and there will be only 5 records displayed, because obviously this get records will only allow us to display 5 records on one page. So if we go back to our page, refresh, scroll down, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, the maximum we have is 5. But as you can see, obviously we haven't got any errors, which is very good. Later on, if we add any other products, you will see that this actually narrows the results what we can do, we can actually make it less than 5. Let's make it 3. If we go back and now refresh, you can see it only gives us 3 records after we refresh the page. So the function is working fine. There are no errors, which is very good. And let's move to the next video.